Hello, welcome to this episode of our program Daily Debate. Today we'll be continuing on with this significant visit by French President Hollande, François Hollande, to Egypt. The French president has already arrived for a 3-day visit to Egypt. He was already accompanied by a huge business delegation comprised of more than 30 businessmen, and of course during this day, or today particularly, it was the opening of the Egyptian-French Business Forum. Of course, the French president, along with President Fattah al-Sisi, of course, were in the opening of this important forum, and along with the business delegation. Later on, he met with the Parliament Speaker and made a visit to the Parliament. He also visited the metro line, or the third metro line, in which French companies yesterday signed a deal with the Egyptian part to start with its establishment. It's the third line. Of course, France has made the two first lines, and of course, the French president made a significant visit to the Coptic Museum. It was a very busy schedule for the French president today. Earlier, of course, on Sunday, President al-Sisi and Hollande had discussed the latest developments in the Middle East, particularly of what concerns Libya, the Middle East, a political solution to Syria, and of course, many of the regional and international issues of mutual concern. A number of agreements were signed yesterday between Egypt and France in different fields, militarily one that we will be discussing, of course, another one in energy and renewable energy, another one in transportation, and in a number of fields. Today we'll be having an overall look to, of course, the French president visit to Egypt. Of course, we have with us distinguished guests, Ambassador Gilan, Allam, former Assistant Foreign Minister, and will be joined later by Dr. Fakhry and Feky, a former member of the IMF. Before we proceed on with our discussion, let's first have a quick look on the French president visit, and we'll come back for a discussion.
French President François Hollande attended Monday evening a dinner banquet hosted by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi at Abdin Palace. The event was attended by Prime Minister Sharif Ismail and a number of French ministers who are accompanying Hollande during his visit to Egypt. Earlier in the morning, President Hollande had inspected Haroun metro station in Heliopolis district, which is a part of the third stage of the third line of the underground, jointly being carried out by the Egyptian and the French governments. During his tour, the French President was accompanied by Minister of Transportation, Dr. Galel Saad. President al-Sisi and his French counterpart inaugurated on Monday the Egyptian-French Economic Forum, with the two leaders delivering speeches reaffirming the importance of bilateral cooperation and French investments in Egypt. The French president's agenda of Monday also included a meeting with Prime Minister Sharif Ismail, who hailed the deep-rooted historical bilateral relations and expressed Egypt's keenness on enhancing cooperation with France in service and developmental fields. The meeting was attended from the Egyptian side by ministers of communications, culture, petroleum and monuments, and from the French side by members of the delegation accompanying the French president during his visit. Also on Monday, Egypt's House of Representatives received French President François Hollande. The French president met with the Speaker Ali Abdelail and a number of lawmakers. Hollande's visit to the parliament is the fourth visit paid by a head of state this year, as Saudi monarch Salman bin Abdulaziz addressed Egypt's parliament a week ago, and Chinese president visited the parliament on January 19th, and Iraqi president also visited the House of Representatives on March 8th. French President François Hollande also visited the Citadel Coptic Museum.
President President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, a year of challenges and achievements. Regaining Egypt's leading role regionally and internationally. New mega development projects. Upgrading Egypt's infrastructure. New Egypt, forward ever.
Right, welcome back, and before proceeding with our discussion, let me first and again welcome our distinguished guests, Ambassador Gilan Allam from Assistant for Medicine. Thank you very much for joining us. And Dr. Fakhry Feky, former Assistant of the Executive Chairman of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Thank you very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Thank you very much. As I said at the very beginning, today we are continuing on with our discussion to the important visit by French President François Hollande. Of course, we all know that this invitation was extended 2 months ago, and of course this is the French President's third visit to Egypt. The latest one was the inauguration of the Suez Canal, the new Suez Canal.
It was an informal visit. He was the guest of honor for the opening ceremony of the Suez Canal, new Suez Canal, so to speak. Now this is his first state visit to Egypt.
Exactly.
So this is why it is so important with all the elements that came along with that.
Exactly. So the this visit of President François Hollande has its own significance on different scales. I mean, here political ones, economic ones, and even militarily. The significance of the visit from your point of view, Ambassador Gilan.
Well, let me speak about the political and strategic maybe significance of that visit. Let me start by saying that naturally France is one of the main players, important countries in the European Union, and it is a member of the permanent member of the Security Council, and it has taken a rather more pragmatic attitude towards Egypt. And after the 30th of June, there was quite some kind of a confused scene on the European theater, political theater, so to speak. And France was one of those countries which did not really kind of calibrate properly at the beginning how to look at what happened on the 30th of June. And so all of a sudden things have evolved. We have maybe presented ourselves better, and I think that the two incidents of terrorism to which France has been exposed, the first one, the Charlie Hebdo massacre, and then the November 2015 very, very extensive simultaneous attacks, I think changed the image from the French perspective very much so. So this is, and then I think it has given a certain momentum, a very strong momentum, and this is why we see that the French president himself is coming accompanied by a very strong economic and investment delegation. So this is very important. It's very important also because France is a partner into the Mediterranean scene. I mean, we are southern Mediterranean, they are northern Mediterranean, and there are quite a few hotspots now in the Mediterranean basin, so to speak. You have Syrian problem, you have the Libyan problem, Tunisia is still struggling, you have the problems within the Sinai. So this is all situations that did warrant the intervention of France, and that it started kind of revisiting its position vis-à-vis the Middle East, because it did prove itself. The idea that whatever happens in the Arab world, in the Mediterranean in particular, just have its reflection on Europe. Another element, I think, from that standpoint where we are, is that France has seen Egypt as a huge economic opportunity. So, and also when Egypt directed itself to France for issues of militarization, diversification of the sources of defense from France. Absolutely. So France saw that a new window of opportunity and a new market, and we have seen the Rafales, we have seen the Mistrals, and we have seen the plan sailing up the Suez Canal during the celebration in August. So let me stop at that. And
yes, very much indeed, and we will be seeing another important military aspect, the satellite issue, and we'll be speaking about that. Accompanying the French president is a huge business delegation, where they are supposed to be invigorating the business opportunities in Egypt. Particularly, they are very much concerned with energy, renewable energy, the underground or the third line transportation, infrastructure, a number of opportunities in Egypt. How do you believe, or how do you think Egypt has real opportunities for French businessmen in Egypt?
Well, if you look at let me build on what Ambassador Gilan mentioned, that France, in addition to that, it's a permanent member in the Security Council. Yes. In addition to that, in the board of directors and of the IMF and World Bank, France is one of the major key player, decision maker in the board of executive directors at the IMF and World Bank. So maybe Egypt could, seek, the support of IMF for, structural economic reform program in the foreseeable future. Then they can lean on France, lean on the European friends, like France, like USA and others. So France is a key player in this front. With respect to the visit of the French President Francois Hollande, he's, with 60, one of the prominent, French companies, investors and so forth. What we need in Egypt right now to fill the financial gap. So we need more FDI, foreign direct investment. So since, the President Francois Hollande comes with, so together with 60 of those major multinational French companies, they are coming to, to seek and look for, unique opportunities, investment opportunities in Egypt. And we have a lot of those opportunities, such as in the area. And this is not, the first area to be and to invest in it, the subway, the first line and second line and third line So the French, normally they are our partner in this area of the transportation area, especially the subways and so forth. So they will continue with us and they will invest more in this area. In addition to the area of energy, as you mentioned, together with, say, vocational training. So we need more training. I understand that the Minister of Economics, our economic minister, the German one, he still in Egypt, say he's visiting Egypt. Also Germany, they are playing a key role in vocational training. So France and Germany, they will play a major role in, say, in this area, vocational training. So because, say, when investor comes in, normally they will ask if we have in Egypt, if we have highly, say, enough highly qualified, say, workers and, say, needed for, say...
for their own investments.
Yes,
for
of
their
course.
own,
yes.
Projects to be launched here in Egypt, yes.
France also, they are, say, playing a major role in tourism in Egypt, and they have, say, a memorandum of understanding and a number of agreements in this area of, to, say, refresh and recover, say, the French people, say, together with the German and the Italian. And this could, say, could, say, shadow what happened in our relationship with the Italians. So maybe Italian will reconsider their position when they, say, find out that, say, the French president and the deputy of Chancellor Angela Merkel, they are visiting Egypt looking for, say, more opportunities, investment opportunities. Maybe in this case, this could help, say, the Italian could, say, reconsider this position.
We are looking forward also for the visit of course, Chancellor Merkel. But returning back to what we were in, yes, tourism is another important sector that you've been opening, but another issue would be the solar station, which they said, and a number of other investments that we are going to discuss. But let me return back to you, Ambassador Gilan, and as we said, a military cooperation was really signed between both defense ministers yesterday. That was the first agreement, of course. Yeah. And they've been speaking about satellite or space science, and particularly satellite. What can this really reflect, or what message does this really give? Of course, this is not the first military cooperation, and that is even an extension to our previous contracts. How do you view that?
We have to understand that now, basically now, high technology is really the key word for the next generation of industry, whatever industry, including definitely the military industry. Cyberspace now is becoming the area, of cooperation between countries, and definitely you need satellites to oversee your territories, to oversee your investment. Now we are investing, a lot of investment are going into the Mediterranean, Eastern Mediterranean, when you're talking about gas between Cyprus and Egypt and so on, is going to be now within the developments that are happening now within the Red Sea. Now we see slowly some developments that are happening into the Egyptian and all the countries that are kind of harboring around the Red Sea. We see different attitude, different developments now happening also in this area. So you need satellites now, and I think Israel has a good number, I think 2 or 3 satellites roving above the area. So you need that. You need for television, you need it for education, you need it to help, actually, to help your Arab countries, neighbors, and Africa also. So there is a need for a satellite. I have not really seen or read still what agreement, and I don't think it's going to be made public, but I think this is basically what usually satellites are being used, and it is some kind of an advance technology agreement. But what I would like to refer to a small point of what Dr. Fakhry had just mentioned about tourism. One of the very key, I think François Hollande, just gave through these 2 days, we haven't seen the third day yet, but through these 2 days visit, he has given some kind of a key statements in difference. So when it comes to tourism, what did he say? He says, please consider me as a French tourist here in Egypt. I'm not coming as just a president on a state visit, but I'm just, a regular, normal visitor. That will just definitely move, the message across.
And he already visited the Coptic Museum.
He visited the Coptic Museum, but the visit to the Coptic Museum, why the Coptic Museum in particular? I mean, he could have gone to the Egyptian Museum, which was actually, the built-up of a French engineer, Mariette, the whole museum. But the Coptic Museum, because France is a leading country within the Catholic Church. And you do remember that earlier on, the Vatican, the Pope of the Vatican met with the Coptic Church of Russia in Cuba. So now there is this kind of rapprochement between religions. So this is what we have seen. When King Salman of Saudi Arabia came to Egypt, the Pope of Alexandria of Egypt went and visited. So these are all new developments that are happening on the international scene. Instead of some kind of a contradiction of a war, a clash of civilizations and of religion, I think the world is realizing how hard and how difficult and dangerous that clash of religion can lead the world to. So there is this kind of a beginning, or a commencement in French, of this kind of a rapprochement. So I was on the side comment, but I thought it carried some kind of an influence.
It does, certainly, because it builds on what we are going to ask about terrorism and what kind of cooperation.
It's a big issue. Yes.
Getting back to business, because business was high on the agenda of President François Hollande's visit to Egypt. And yes, business, because Egypt is very much keen to extend its economic cooperation with, or rather on a multi-country basis, and not just one, or not just an alliance, not as previously we were. Yes, the many agreements and declarations of intentions that were signed, and the memorandum of understandings that were also signed, and how do you view the several fields in which France is really interested in Egypt, to do business in Egypt in?
Well, let me tell you that economics is the main drive of, country relationship in the political area and other areas and so forth. Remember, this Rafale deal and, others of military,
Mistral
and so forth. Yeah. So in this case, this, deal almost of, $6 billion. So also look at, the other, for example, Siemens, the German, company, Siemens for electricity and power generating power stations. So those kind of, deals is very important to those countries. And if we look at those, multinational corporations, whether they are French or German or others, so in this case, normally they are looking for, good opportunities. If you look at Egypt, Egyptian market is a wide market with 90 now. The French president was talking about 91 million, not 90. Now he's watching, the population. That's why he touched upon the population, the demographic, problem in Egypt needs to be addressed, closely. So he was talking about, demographically, Egypt needs to, the population is growing faster. But anyway, normally multinational corporations, they are looking for, wide market with huge opportunities, with a huge purchasing power like Egypt, 90 million inhabitants. In addition to this one, if we look at, labor market and labor force in Egypt is still cheaper. The minimum wage in Egypt is almost 1,200 Egyptian pounds. If we convert it into dollars, it's nothing. It's almost like it's almost $100, $120. It's $120 per month. So for any multinational corporations, they consider this is cheaper labor. But what they need above that to have, highly trained and highly qualified, laborers. In addition to this one, Egypt also is not discovered yet. If you look at the Egyptian, territory, Egypt, has a lot of, natural resources not discovered yet. So we are living on, 7% of the total area of Egypt. The 93% is not discovered yet, so we need to rediscover Egypt. I think, the multinational corporation, they will discover that, we have cheaper and diversified, natural resources. So this would help them, and this will attract them in different areas.
The solar station, for an instance, in Sinai, which is something...
Of course, the Germans, they are looking after this. In addition to the French, they are they are fighting to come to Egypt for solar energy and renewable energy in this matter.
Yes.
Energy in general is becoming in Egypt now a major endeavor, because basically energy now, under the different, be it renewable, be it fossil, be it solar, be it from gas. This is really the key, the turnkey to any other investment, and this is why there is so much kind of crush over that. Let me say, in accordance in relations to what Dr. Feky has just mentioned, that President Hollande, during the business forum meeting, to which you referred, did mention a very interesting idea and approach to things. When he was speaking about the sustainable cities, he said that, that the concept of a sustainable city, when you build a new city, it has to be sustainable within itself. Because if you're going to dedicate it to the new generation, to the young, to the youth, and I think he was very much aware of the demographics of Egypt when he spoke. Well, of course, when he said 91 million, because we are multiplying by 3 million a year. So almost within 4 months now, we have got the first million over the 90. So he was, and then he spoke about the youth and their need for sustainable cities, where everything is actually there, and where technology plays the major role in containing. And I certainly do hope with this kind of approach and view that whatever we are trying and figuring out regarding the new capital for Egypt, administrative capital of Egypt, that we make of it a sustainable city, and that we use that French concept, into establishing that city. We just don't make it as another compound, huge compound, of buildings not related, not serviceable, and so on. And I think it's a very interesting idea that we should be really taking care of.
Yes. Since you brought up this issue of what President Hollande said, let's watch this report. President Sisi Hollande reaffirms ties at Economic Forum opening. Let's watch the forum and its opening, and we'll come back for discussion.
Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and his French counterpart François Hollande inaugurated the Egyptian-French Economic Forum in Cairo on Monday, with the two leaders delivering speeches reaffirming the importance of bilateral cooperation and French investment in Egypt. The representatives of 60 French companies are attending the forum, along with the ministers of Industry, Investment, International Cooperation, Transport and Electricity. 21 agreements were signed between the French companies and Egyptian agencies in the fields of energy, transport, industry and services. In his speech, Hollande said that France is fully committed to assisting Egypt in achieving economic development and making improvements in educating and training. Hollande also said that his country aims to increase investments in Egypt as there are 150 branches of French companies operating in Egypt where thousands of Egyptians are employed. He also noted that France, the sixth largest investor in Egypt, adding that his country seeks to raise the level of our investments in Egypt and it understands very well the challenges facing Egypt, especially terrorism, as well as the demographic challenge with the size of Egypt's population increasing by 2 million each year, which is a burden on the state. He pointed out that France seeks to cooperate with Egypt to achieve stability in energy resources and to develop infrastructure. The French president also said that many French companies are ready to invest in the Suez Canal economic zone, which presents great investment opportunities, citing France's experiences in the development of sustainable cities. He also called on French companies to provide vocational training for the Egyptian workforce and encourage the exchange of expertise between universities and engineers, adding that 800,000 young people join the job market yearly in Egypt. For his part, the President Sisi's opening speech focused on the value of French-Egyptian cooperation and its durability in the midst of various challenges. Sisi also said that France is Egypt's ninth largest commercial partner, with trade between the two countries totaling $2.58 billion in 2015. He also added that despite the challenges faced by French companies in Cairo since 2015, they have continued doing businesses in Egypt, especially in the service sector. The president pointed to the many factors that contribute to ongoing economic and trade cooperation between the two countries, including the implementation of joint ventures between the public and private sectors and expertise of the French in boosting the small business sector. He also pointed to the work of Commercial Commission, which is due to hold its first meeting in 2016.
Right. Welcome back and back to our discussion. Yes, indeed, this is a very important opening to the forum, but another important visit was the Parliament. And President Francois Hollande made a courtesy visit to the Parliament and met with the Parliament Speaker, Ali Abdel Al. How do you view the significance of this visit, particularly that he did not give a key address like has been done before, I mean, by King Salman or by the Chinese President Hu Jintao? What was the significance of this visit?
Democracy in
which is another important point that was opened yesterday.
I mean, when Egypt said that this is our roadmap, we have elections, we have a president duly elected, and then we have a parliament which is now the House of Representatives of Council of Representatives. So basically, so you have, this is a main component, the major components of the democratic liberal system. So I think that his visit carries many meetings, many meanings, and I think it's an important gesture that he goes to the chairman of the parliament, the president of the parliament. This is some kind of an acknowledgement of well, it is a courtesy call at the end of the day. I mean, he did not address the assembly or anything. It is a courtesy call, but also it's an acknowledgement that yes, you have a parliament, you are on the right track, that we are trying, and I think our president had mentioned it, that we are working very hard to be a serious democracy and a responsible democracy.
This particular issue we will be speaking, we will be dealing, because that took a part of...
The meaning is there, that it is an acknowledgement of and respect of that Egypt has fulfilled this promise that it will have a parliament. The parliament is there, and he just paid it. I think we have to be grateful for that visit, because it's a very smart arranged visit, because through this visit, and it's different from the purpose of the visit of King Salman, it gives so many messages to Europe in general and to the world at large. You know, through and there are quite a few messages like this. So I think it is a visit that we have to look at carefully and assess properly all the messages. This is one major message that has been given by this visit.
Indeed, and those two important questions that we need to look at together. Let me just take it.
Let me, add something in this area to what have mentioned by Ambassador Gilan, that this is to President Fattah Sisi wants to assure the international community represented by the French president that to visit the parliament, to assure that we are building on and we are serious about having as she Ambassador mentioned that we are serious about building up a new modern democratic state of
exactly
Egypt.
These were the statements of the president yesterday.
And this gives a number of signals to the international community in this area.
But here let me ask you, sir, about the French president's note that France is the 6th largest investor in Egypt, and that his country seeks improving such rank. And indeed, we have been seeing a kind of quantum leap of the kind of cooperation, particularly in the economy between Egypt and France. How do you expect France to be in this particular upcoming stage?
Remember that the international trade, or the trade between a bilateral trade between two countries like Egypt and France, normally it will not witness, a movement upgrading the international trade between Egypt and France. I understand they are the 6th largest, trade partner of Egypt, and now with almost $2.6 billion export plus import trade, I mean. So in this case, they want, to push it, forward up to, one more, like, 5 billion instead of 2.6
Exactly.
billion.
This is because France is one of the strongest economy, after Germany. So is this 2.6 billion input and export sufficient for relations as such?
Yes, unfortunately, we are exporting to France almost $500 million. That's it. While France, they are importing to us or exporting to us, a little bit more than $2 billion. So in this case, we have to work hard. Egypt will not, will needs to, boost, the Egyptian export to France. This won't happen unless, France will invest more in Egypt. Those 60, companies, multinational companies visiting, Egypt with the president, French president, they are coming to invest more. Once they invest more, that means they will have more value added. This value added will be originated in Egypt, and then if they re-export it to Europe or export it to France, in this case, the Egyptian export will be doubled. This will take some time. Remember that, international trade in Egypt, witnessed, a retardation in the last few years. Now what they need is to, give, more, hand, more push to the forward to the international trade. I mean the bilateral trade between Egypt and France in this case. Also, if we look at investment, the French investment in Egypt, they comes the 9th largest, only 9th largest, investor in Egypt. So by, this visit, and they will give more room for more, investment for the French companies to invest in Egypt. So this, once they have more investment in Egypt in the area of transportation, tourism and other, vocational training, I'm talking about, the official bilateral, cooperation between Egypt and France. Remember that we didn't talk about, the foreign direct investment, the private sector. The French private sector, the multinational, once they invest, injected more investment in the veins of the Egyptian economy, and could, make, the French investment in Egypt comes, better, instead of being the number 9, could be, we need more, French
Definitely.
investment in Egypt.
Definitely.
It also seems to be, a very prominent area of cooperation.
Yes.
We know that, and I mean there are so much that we have to work harder. We have to put our house into order, decide, the different tracks where we want to go, and just go for that. I think, and also there isn't really, we don't really have, very much of a clearer picture, a more transparent picture of what the future projects around the Suez Canal area are going to look like. I think this is still something that we're still digging around and still not decided about what it is. We need to do a lot of work, of organizational work in terms of economic development, how to...
Particularly if you want really to give a push, particularly to
if you want to give a push, you have to put yourself into order, on track.
Yes.
ASAP, please.
Let me add one more point, the French or German or any, trade partner or investment partner with Egypt, we have to have, an economic and social reform program. So for those, to put their money and inject more billions of dollars within the veins of the Egyptian economy, they have to place it within, a country like Egypt, adopting, economic and social reform program. That's very important. This program is, addressed by, the Parliament, and hopefully by coming Wednesday, 2 days from now, the Parliament will approve this.
That's in 2 days to
program.
see.
This will help a lot for investment of FDI to come, to be forthcoming to Egypt.
Yes. Returning back to the two important questions, and those were on the top of the discussions, as reported by all the international media. And we don't want really to just give a deaf ear to that. Human rights and freedoms, and the issue of regime, and the other French guy that were really discussed. The French press discussed them with President Sisi, and yesterday there were some statements made by the French president regarding the issue, and an answer back from President Sisi. Now, how did we or the Western read the statements made by the two presidents, and what came out of this discussion?
Talking about human rights and freedom of gathering, freedom of speech, freedom of expression, and all of this will always be at the top of any discussion that will happen with any democracy, be it in the States, in the Western world in general,
As long as they are Western.
or in any, actually, I mean, it is becoming really a major issue. And sometimes it is used, as a kind
pressuring
tool, and sometimes it's being used as a kind of a reminder. I think that the French, are very sophisticated people, so they always have their way of saying it. So I think the French president did mention that issue of, particularly if we take into account that this is France is the mother of all human rights declaration, basically. So we have to know and we have to understand that this is one of the main currents into the French culture. So he could not have just dismissed it or not spoken about it. And he did mention that in his reply to one of the questions that were put to him by a French reporter, that he spoke to him about the human rights issues in Egypt under the regime issue in particular. And he did say, I would be amiss if I did not address that, but I did address it into the context of understanding that what is happening here in Egypt should be understood, and that should not really contradict or come into opposition with the rule of law and the respect for human rights, that they have to do to play the balance. And the reply of President Sisi was that, you know, we are respectful of that. Our constitution just, you know, states that definitely we are keen on either certainly finding the truth about what happened to Regini, because it's a big enigma, you know. I mean, what happened to Regini really is a big enigma, and I think we have to look at it from a totally different angle than what is being presented, but this is not our issue now. So he did mention, please try to understand that what is happening in this country is being seen from a different perspective, that we are fighting a huge, this is a mortal fight for Egypt, you know, fighting against terrorism. It is not an easy issue. And that please try to understand that we are trying to reach that balance. But it is difficult, and please bear with us that we are going to do. But he did deliver a message, and he said, I am talking and addressing myself to the press in Europe and the world beyond, that we are in a state of war, that we are trying very hard also to move forward. And this is another message, important message.
Within a region that is very much
absolutely
in chaotic.
And this was another message that President Hollande did mention, that for progress and development to happen, you need stability and security. And that we understand what kind of dilemma is going on in Egypt. So I think he was rather more understanding than others, you know, of what has happened, than, for example, the Brits or the Americans and so on. So and certainly the Italians, I don't blame them, but they should kind of have a revisit at this issue of Regini and see that, from my standpoint, from where I stand personally, you know, as an Egyptian citizen, you know, and as a diplomat also, that there are a lot of forces at play into the Regini case.
Definitely. It's very much vague, and
this is my strong belief. So I think this issue has been tackled, and let us not forget also, you know, that France is the seat for the European Parliament. So he felt exactly what is going. And I think there is a beginnings of understanding of how faithful, because when terrorism in the Middle East, where it started growing, and the sense of insecurity and the sense of frustration, that those who attacked, you know, Charlie Hebdo, or those who, you know, the November, you know, of 2015 in France, or Brussels later on in January, these were not people coming from the Arab world. These were second generation citizens of France and Belgium. So there is this kind of a sense of frustration, and I think there is a new look at what is going on.
Yes, very much indeed.
Also, let me dwell on one of the main issue and purpose of the visit is to exchange views between Sisi and President Sisi and Hollande on the area of, you know, say, the Palestinian Israelis, a conflict of having two states. So this initiative by the French is coming to exchange views with regard, you know, say this.
And Libya also, because Libya is another
Libya, but remember when on the visit, you know, say on the same, you know, say day, the Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu was declaring that the Golan, the Syrian Golan, will not be released to anyone. So look at it's surprising.
Yes, we've heard Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu addressing his own cabinets. Yes, we have seen his address.
To give, you know, say, hard time,
which is
anyone wants to, you know, say, have a resolution or initiative in this, you know, I mean, for this conflict, you know.
I guess time is running out, and it already ran out, and I have to end it here. But indeed, lots and lots of more discussion needed about all what we have been speaking about today. Let me just thank you again for being with us, Ambassador Gilan, Allam, former Assistant Foreign Minister, and Dr. Fakhry, former Assistant of the Executive Chairman of the International Monetary Fund, the IMF. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dear viewers, many thanks for watching. Tomorrow, another contentious debate with another colleague, and good night.